Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys from Fierce Wireless. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So, this has been a hot topic for the past 24 hours. Lots of different articles came out when T Mobile announced that they've been testing speeds of over 4 gigs using millimeter wave on its standalone 5G core. Now, what I wanted to discuss in this video and take a different perspective, is this even the right choice? And let me explain. So, while I was reading the article, what I mostly got from that, and this is the original article from T-Mobile's newsroom, is they're mainly thinking about using this for a single specific use case, and that's fixed wireless access. They're telling us it's not good if you're not stationary, right? If you're in a car moving. So they're telling us in that article still going into 2024 that it's not a mobile use case. That is simply what they're telling us. They are telling us millimeter wave is not a mobile use case. So I have to question if this is the right choice, right? Let's just say they spend $2-3 billion of capital, separate capital, deploying millimeter wave for fixed wireless access. So they are likely, and they discussed this before, so we can go by history, they are not going to deploy nodes into these neighborhoods. They discussed a millimeter wave deployment would be on their tower grid, and then they would get CPE units millimeter wave ready, likely would have to have an external antenna or something that you can put on the window to get the best possible millimeter wave reception. Now, my question is, and the reason I say is this the right choice? What if you invest that same 2 to 3 billion into fiber? Would fiber to the home at this point make more sense? Because if you're going to invest billions getting sites up to getting sites 10 gig circuits so you can push this millimeter wave to that 4 gigs, and you invest money to get new CPE units, how many households in that neighborhood can you realistically latch onto that sector? Millimeter wave still has its limitations. Even if you aggregate it with low band and mid band, it might reach a bit further, but you're not going to be able to get all of the houses that you may want. With fiber to the home, that becomes a different story. You can pick and choose how many homes you want to connect up to the fiber. So for the money, right, think about the money part. It may be more accretive to do fiber to the home at this point. If you are not going to deploy this in any meaningful way for mobile, then, is it really worth it? Now, they also discussed, I will say this, they also discussed that they're going to deploy it in NBA arenas, possibly NFL stadiums. That's also being looked at, and I think that's one of the best use cases for that spectrum at this point in time for T-Mobile. I think they need to get that in there. I think they need it to be on the DAS systems, period, inside of these stadiums and arenas. Baseball, they got covered because they're the sponsor. So a lot of the baseball stadiums should have a T-Mobile DAS or adequate service. But they lack in NFL and NBA arenas and stadiums. I'm sure they'll fix that as the merged company. They will fix that. They'll get on with the millimeter wave where they can do it, right? They still have to go by the design and see if millimeter wave can even be added. But we've seen Verizon do it, so I don't see why T-Mobile couldn't, right? So that's my thought this morning. Is this the right choice? If you're going to primarily, because, NFL stadiums, there's only 30, right? So if you're going to be primarily deploying this for FWA, at what point does fiber make more sense? If you're not going to deploy nodes and small cells with millimeter wave on them, and you're just going to put a millimeter wave panel on a sector of your site, right? It's going to increase your OpEx because you have to bump the backhaul to support the millimeter wave and all your other spectrum bands that are on air. And you have to deploy millions because you got to deploy it at some type of scale. And how do you even pick and choose, right? Do you look at your FWA usage and how many customers, and then do you try to offload them onto millimeter wave? Or is this specifically you trying to get new households to grow the business? the FWA business. So that's just something I wanted you guys to think about this morning. Is this the right choice? Is, at this point, a fiber investment more practical versus millimeter wave? Because T-Mobile does not have millimeter wave deployed at this juncture to any type of scale. So they could still pivot. They said they would use millimeter wave, and even as of the article yesterday that came out, it's still testing. They are still not actively deploying anything. There is no plan right now, as it stands. There is no plan that should make you believe that millimeter wave is going to any type of scale. Until they announce that at maybe the Q4 earnings, they give us guidance for that. Maybe next year is an analyst day. Until that happens, temper your expectations. That's all I'll say. Right? Even this article from Fierce Wireless, it shows you they're touting 4 gigs. They're testing. They're looking at it still. I'm not saying that's a deflection because they're actually testing it on a production network, but they're still not deploying it to any type of scale. If you look at the difference between them and Verizon, it's night and day. Verizon set capital aside. They've been deploying that since 2017, so they've been deploying it for multiple years. They got the permit approvals. They embraced the grind. They put their own fiber to these nodes. They got the contractors to deploy the poles. That takes time, and you have to accumulate that scale over a certain amount of years. If we talk in 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, about 6 years, T-Mobile would probably need about the same time if they had a similar investment to gain any type of scale on this. So just think about all of that. Take that into consideration, compare, and right now, which would be the better investment? For me, now at the end of this video, talking all those talking points, for me, it has to be fiber. Fiber to the home just makes more sense. It gives you optionality. You can sell speed tiers for different pricing. It gives you the customer CLV, customer lifetime value. They likely stay longer. You have less issues. Once you put that into the house, you don't have to service it as much. I'm still told that FWA is a nightmare at the local level to optimize and maintain. So all of that has to be taken in consideration when you're thinking about fiber versus millimeter wave FWA. So leave all your comments in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys stay tuned, like, share, subscribe, follow all of my social media outlets. Also, make sure you guys join the membership. Lots of good info there. The members are eating good. So make sure you guys join that. A link to that will be in the description. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.